Hello retro gamer fans, today I'm going to be talking about this case I saw at a retro game store about 2 weeks ago, and you may notice that it says Atari on it. I ended up buying this case for $60. I didn't even know what was inside. I brought it home and, well, you'll see what happens in the video. So first let's talk about what attracted me to this case in the first place. I used to have a case that looked just like this, but it was for Lego, and when I saw Atari on it, I got really excited. These are really high quality plastic cases that they made in the 80s. They don't make stuff like this anymore. I knew it was video game related, so I had to have it. I was doing some research online about the case, and a lot of people thought it was a rental case, but actually what it turns out is this is just a case you could buy separately for your Atari 2600. And I also like how it has a handle so you could carry it like a briefcase. So to open it up, you just lift up these two latches right here, and it lifts up to see what's inside. Now keep in mind, I added this blue tape later because I found out that there was some stuff wrong with it. I'll get into that in a second, but this is essentially what I found inside the case. So you see that it can hold 12 games, and these are the games that it came with: Skiing, Star Raiders, E.T., which is one of the worst video games of all time, Football, Freeway, Super Breakout, which is one of my favorites when I was a kid, Real Sports Football, a different football, Solaris, Vanguard, Tax Scan, Space Invaders, and Jungle Hunt. It also came with two joysticks, one which I found out later the left side doesn't work, and then two of the paddles. And then it came with an AC adapter and an Atari 2600. Well, it says Telegames. That was just Sears' version of the Atari 2600. It's essentially the same thing. So what happened was, when I was inspecting this Atari, I was looking around at the back, I was ready to plug it in so I could test it out, and I noticed something. I was ready to plug in the power adapter, but there's nowhere to plug it in. So I started moving it around, and I noticed that there was something loose inside, so I opened it up, and I found this. This is what was loose. This is the power adapter that must have popped off the motherboard. I did some research online, and it looks like this thing has to be soldered back onto the motherboard, and I don't know how to solder, so here's what I did. I figured since I already have all the controllers and games and stuff, I just buy a new Atari 2600 off of eBay, and this one was a console only. And look, it's the actual Atari version, not the Sears version. But you may notice that there's something different about these two versions besides just the brand. This one up here has 6 switches, and this one only has 4. And I just learned this myself, but apparently this was the original version from 1977 with the 6 switches, and then later, to save money, in 1980 they came out with the 4-switch version. And it's essentially the same thing. You still get the extra switches on the new version, it's just now that they're placed on the back. So I received the Atari I ordered on eBay a couple days ago, and I was really nervous when it got here. I was afraid it wasn't going to work, but it turns out it works great. Let me show you. And first I just want to show you guys all the different switches on the console. So we got the on-off power switch. You got the difference between color and black and white TV depending on your TV. We have the cartridge slot. We have the game select to change the game, and then we have the reset button. So the Atari is unique in that the connection to the TV is actually soldered into the motherboard, so this wire does not come loose from this unit. You also may notice that this is an older unit, and what you need is this little adapter that goes into this, and then it goes into your cable. Here's just the standard cable input, and this is the adapter I was talking about, and then this just plugs in right there. Now I did have an Atari when I was a little kid, but the weirdest thing for me, because it's been years since I used one, is that the controller ports are actually located on the back of the unit, right here and right here. And I'm so used to them being in the front of the unit, like with the Nintendo and everything after. So with the Atari 2600, there are two main controllers that were used with the system, the paddle and then the regular joystick, but there are also a bunch of other controllers used with it, which I don't have. I feel like this is the one that was used the most, and mine's kind of broken, but it does still work. So the controller just plugs into the port in the back. You know what I found out? This is the same controller port that the Sega Genesis uses. But yeah, it just slides in like that. Then we have the power adapter that plugs in right here, and I put it in really slowly because I'm paranoid about what happened to my other unit. I don't want it to break off. Here's the part where you pick out your game you want to play, and I think I'm gonna go with this one called Jungle Hunt. It's pretty fun. And I really like the artwork for this one too, but it just plugs in right here up top. You turn on your TV to channel 3, and then you flip this little power switch right here, and watch what's going to happen. Jungle Hunt. So the object of this game is just to make your way through the jungle, and the first part you go on these vines, and you see you just push the red button to swing from vine to vine. Then there's other parts of the game too, like there's this area where you have to go through the water, and there's these alligators you have to avoid. And the longer you stay in the water, you see that you actually start to run out of air. So you have to come up to the top every once in a while to grab some. Then you come to this part of the game where you have to run and jump over all these boulders that come rolling towards you. And it's basically like this throughout the game where you just make your way through the jungle. Oops, I died. This next game I'm going to show you is called Breakout, and this is one of the original ones I had back in the mid-80s when I had an Atari 2600. The weird thing about this game is you actually have to reset the Atari to start it. And then once you're ready, you push the red button, and you see you control the paddle on bottom with the wheel up top, and you just try to break your way through all the different levels. This is one of the more unique games for the system because it's really fun to control the paddle. But I will say the longer you play this game, the more difficult it gets because the ball gets faster and faster. And some of the games are really simple, but they're still fun. Like this one's called Freeway. It's kind of like Frogger. All you have to do is just make your way across the road as many times as you can, and you see your score up top. But look at how basic this game is. You can't even go left and right. All you can really do is go up and down to cross the street. Here's a famous game, E.T., that a programmer had to make in like a month, and he was really running out of time, so he just rushed it out. And yeah, this game is pretty bad. So you keep falling inside of these pits, and it's really annoying to try to get out. But I think you're supposed to make your way around the area and look for certain things, but yeah, it's really a bad game. This last game I'm going to show you is called Skiing, and again, it's pretty basic, but it's fun. And you can see on the bottom, it's made by Activision. Activision actually made some of the best Atari 2600 games. So if you are shopping for Atari 2600 games, look out for that logo on the label. And if you guys have any Atari game recommendations for me, please send them my way in the comments, because I'm actually going to be going to the game store soon and looking out for some new games I'm going to buy. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys soon.